Hi, I'm Tim Johnson of Positive Light Media. I'm a video producer and storyteller here in the Twin Cities of Minneapolis and St. Paul. Thank you for joining us for today's video blog. Today we're going to be talking about how to conduct a great on-camera interview. Now, why is this so important? The reason that this is so important is because interviews are the heart of your video story. So you can do a whole lot of things to make a video beautiful, but no amount of great video shooting and production is going to make up for poorly executed interviews. So today we're going to be covering several ways to achieve more success as you're interviewing people that are going to be on camera during your videos. We're going to talk about how preparation is the key to a great interview. We're going to talk about how you put your interviewee at ease, and there's several ways that we'll cover that, including how we start the interview. We're going to talk about being conversational and asking open-ended questions. And finally, we're going to talk about how we always make sure that our interviewee has an opportunity to share anything that you may not have asked them about. So let's get started. Be prepared every time you're going to interview somebody on camera. What do I mean by this? I mean that every time you interview somebody on camera, you should know the content of what you're going to talk about extremely well. By doing this, you'll be able to work questions into your conversation and make sure that they feel comfortable giving answers based on you asking them conversationally. Think about it for a moment. If I ask you a question and say, tell me about a time when you felt really special because of being part of this organization. Well, that's a lot different to read that off of a page than it is to say, gosh, this really must be special to be a part of this organization. Tell me about that. Which one sounds more conversational? Which question would you be more relaxed answering? Starting the interview. Starting the interview by putting somebody at ease and talking about something completely unrelated about what your subject is a great way to put your interviewee at ease. It's not natural to sit on camera and talk. Even if you've got somebody to have a conversation with and you're not trying to make eye contact with the lens, there's a good chance that your interviewee has never been on camera before. So anything that you can talk about to get them to relax, maybe talk about their weekend, talk about their plans or their latest vacation, is a great way to feel like they are connecting with you, the interviewer, as a human rather than somebody asking them stilted questions that almost always result in stilted answers. And again, that just feeds into this tip that I'm going to continue to hammer home. If you want the interviewee to be conversational in their answers, then you need to be conversational with how you ask the questions. So we're not going to look down at our notes and say, tell me about a time when you thought it was really special to be a part of this organization. You're not going to do that. You're going to do it exactly the way we talked about. Gosh, Bill, that really is neat that you are part of such a special organization. Tell me about that. And notice what I did there with that question, which is the other tip that we're going to hammer home when we talk about doing a good interview. Always ask open-ended questions. Don't ever ask a question that can be answered by filling in the blank with a yes or a no, or if somebody asks what your favorite color is, they can simply say blue, and it's the end of the answer, and you're both left there staring at each other wondering what in the world you should talk about. Whereas if you say to somebody, tell me what your favorite color is, and why do you like that color so much? That gives them a chance to answer an open-ended question. Another really important tip when it comes to interviewing people is that you, the interviewer, need to be quiet. This is something that I've unfortunately seen happen countless times in interviews, is interviewers that talk too much. You need to leave space for your interviewee to answer. And in fact, I like to really let the silence hang, especially after somebody answers a very poignant question. Just sit there and listen and look deep and wait. Wait for the answer. Now, the way that I know that I'm waiting long enough for the answer is that I start to feel uncomfortable, and pretty much 100% of the time, my interviewee will fill the silence with something wonderful. Think about that for a minute. Nearly every time you allow space for your interviewee to answer a question, they will fill the silence with something wonderful. If you must talk in that situation, you don't even need to ask a question. You might just sit there and look at them and say, after a long pause, you might say, "Wow, that is really amazing." And just wait. It's a wonderful technique to use in interviews, and I really would encourage you to give it a try the next time that you have a chance to talk to somebody about something. I'm just amazed at how often for me, those are when I get the best answers to my questions. Finally, you always want to give your interviewee a chance to share something that you didn't think to ask them about. No matter how well prepared you are for that interview, I can just about guarantee you that your interviewee has thought of something that they hope that you'll ask them. So we always end every interview with, "Gosh, Bill, this has really been great visiting with you today. Is there anything else that you'd like to share about being a part of this organization?" And again, be silent and wait for an answer. And let yourself get a little bit uncomfortable with the waiting, because I guarantee you there's a very good chance that you're going to get some amazing stuff that way. So those are a few tips about conducting a great interview. I hope that you found them useful. I'd love to know more from you about how you've been successful conducting a great interview. I know that there's lots of things that I haven't covered, and there's a lot of other ways that we could talk about how to make sure that your next interview goes well. Tell me about that in the comments. And as usual, I hope that you'll share this content with others if you found it useful. And I hope that you'll comment and ask questions. And again, I'm Tim Johnson of Positive Light Media. Thank you so much for joining us for today's video blog.